When we hear the phrase work ethic, we usually think about individual character. She has a strong work ethic and he doesn't, for instance. Or his success is largely attributable to his incredible work ethic. He came from nothing and now he's at the top of his industry. But that's not what sociologists originally meant by the term. The phrase work ethic came into widespread usage in the 1950s to describe something cultural rather than a trait that we can attribute to individuals. In this sociological sense, a work ethic is the background moral assumptions a society holds about work, what it means, what it's worth, and how it fits into a well-lived life. The concept builds on a much earlier project by Max Weber, who is trying to understand how capitalism became pervasive and inescapable. Weber's question was how capitalism, which is often presented as a simple economic system, turned into a shared way of life, organized around rational efficiency, disciplined productivity, and the continual pursuit of profit. Before we evaluate our own attitudes toward work, then, it helps to get clear on what a work ethic actually is. First, notice that a work ethic is not an ethics of work. An ethics of work would answer normative questions like, is this wage just? Is this labor practice exploitative? Or what do employees owe their employers? A work ethic, by contrast, is descriptive. It explicitly articulates a culture's implicit understanding of the moral value of work in a well-lived life. Outside the sociology seminar room, a work ethic operates mostly below the level of conscious articulation. You rarely see it defended in arguments, but you do see it expressed in the stories a culture tells about itself. For instance, in Ragged Dick, one of the original rags to riches stories that came to define the American work ethic, one of the wise characters earnestly asserts, in this free country, poverty in early life is no bar to a man's advancement. You can also see it in the assumptions made by everyday people. Consider these statements. Good people work hard and expect no more than they're entitled to. People generally get what they deserve. Hard work is evidence of moral character. If someone passes up a chance to make more money, they're being irresponsible. Those claims don't typically strike us as controversial. For many people, they feel obvious. And that obviousness is what makes them so powerful. A work ethic shapes what we admire, what we resent, what we're ashamed of, and what we expect. It influences how we interpret poverty, wealth, ambition, rest, and even leisure. Sociologists don't necessarily care if a culture's work ethic is true or false, though maybe they should. Instead, they're concerned to make sure that they're accurately describing an evaluative framework. In the Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism, Max Weber argues that certain forms of Protestantism turned work into a moral calling. Weber looked to sermons, popular devotionals, and even a handbook on sports and leisure to argue that the Protestant work ethic in the 17th and 18th centuries turned work into a divine duty or calling. He argued that over time, the religious beliefs weakened, but the habits of disciplined productivities remained, helping to shape modern capitalism. Now, if we want to identify a work ethic in any culture, including our own, we wouldn't begin with abstract theory. We'd look at its primary texts. Weber read sermons and devotional manuals. We might look at parallel sources like graduation speeches, corporate mission statements, productivity influencers, and social media feeds. Consider lines like, "There's no elevator to success, you have to take the stairs," or "Happiness is the fulfillment that comes from hard work." Those aren't just motivational cliches. They express assumptions about what success requires and what gives life meaning. A work ethic reveals itself in what we celebrate, what we apologize for, what makes us feel guilty, and what makes us feel worthy. It's the fact that flashing a jam-packed calendar is a power move, or that being so busy is a humble brag. Once you start paying attention to those signals, it becomes much easier to see the moral framework operating beneath the surface. And once you understand that framework, you can reclaim the agency to decide whether that ethic is one that you want to endorse.